Now discussing the third type of cell junctions, the gap junctions. Now, till now we have discussed some junctions which are tightly packed together, some junctions in which the cell membranes adhere together. Now the gap junctions are different from these types of junctions because they are broad patches of the cell membranes. And in these types of junctions, the cell membranes are so closely attached to each other such that the intercellular gap, which is normally 20 nanometers in most cells, is reduced to about 2 nanometers. Okay? And the gap junctions are basically the tubular communicating channels. Okay? They help in the passage of molecules in between the two cells. And each gap junction or each channel is made up of two protein complexes, the connexons. Okay? Each gap junction is made up of two connexons, and each connexon is made up of 6 connexons. Okay? We can count from here: 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay? Each gap junction is made up of two connexons, and each connexon is made up of 6 connexin. Connexin is a transmembrane protein. Okay? This image is also depicting a cell junction. The two cell membranes are so close together that the very less intercellular space is there, and the 6 connexins make up of one connexon, and two connexons are making a gap junction. Okay? Now the gap junctions or the communicating junctions help in the passage of many molecules. Some of them are the signaling molecules such as the cyclic AMP and the GMP, the nutritive substances, the amino acids and sugars, and the inorganic ions for the electrical conductions. Okay? Gap junctions are mostly opened, but they are closed in some pathologic states, mainly when the cell is in injury or when the cell is dying, such that when the calcium inside the cell becomes higher, because calcium is mostly higher in outside the cell in the extracellular space, so that in the intracellular space the calcium is low, but when it is high in the intracellular space, the which is an indication of the cell injury or cell death, either by necrosis or by apoptosis. So in this state the gap junctions are closed. Low pH is also an indication of cellular injury, in which the gap junctions are closed so that the adjacent cells are not destroyed, बराबर वाले cells को नुकसान ना पहुंचे इस वजह से. ठीक है? That's why the cell junction, these type of cell junctions, the gap junctions are closed. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. When it is administered in retina, it also closes the cell junctions. ठीक है? Because it is an inhibitory neurotransmitter mostly, and it can cause some other effects. Cell junctions are also called nexus junctions because they are made of connexins and connexons. Okay? They are made up of two connexons, and each connexon is made up of 6 connexins. So इस वजह से इसको nexus junctions भी कहते हैं. ठीक है? So they are present in the cardiac muscles and smooth muscles for the rhythmic and synchronous contraction, because these muscles are not under our will, so they need gap junction for their smooth propagations of action potential and synchronous contraction. Gap junctions are not present in skeletal muscle because they are under our will. ठीक है? वहाँ synchronous contraction की हमारे will के हिसाब से काम है. ठीक है? तो वहाँ gap junction की इतनी नीड नहीं है. Gap junctions are also present in neurons, in astrocytes, in bone cells or osteocytes, in the epithelial cells, and in the embryonic cells. They are mostly important in the embryonic cells because in embryo we need a tremendous amount of signaling for the developmental processes. Okay? That's why the gap junctions are present in embryonic cells. Now, Alhamdulillah, we have finished the cell junctions. Here is the summary. The cell junctions, the transmembrane proteins, the adhering protein, the cytoskeletal proteins, and the examples. Zonula occludins, the tight belts. The transmembrane proteins are occludin and claudin. The anchoring proteins are ZO1, ZO2, and ZO3. ZO means the zonula occludin. And the cytoskeletal proteins are the microfilament actin filaments, and the examples are the renal proximal convoluted tubule, the intestinal mucosa, etc. The zonula adherents or the adhering belts, the transmembrane proteins are E-cadherin. The anchoring proteins are catenin, vinculin, and alpha-actinin. And the cytoskeletal proteins are the microfilaments, same, the actin. And the examples are liver cells and uterus. Macular adherence or the spot junctions or the desmosomes. The transmembrane proteins are desmocollins and desmogleins of cadherin family. The anchoring proteins are desmoplakins and plakoglobins. And the cytoskeletal proteins are keratin in case of epithelial cells. Keratin वही bundle के साथ लगेगा जो tone of fibrils कहलाती हैं. And vimentin in case of the muscle cells. They are found in the cardiac muscles, the liver, the GI mucosa and the urinary bladder. The hemidesmosomes or the half desmosomes which are attaching the cell with the basement membrane. The transmembrane proteins are not cadherins, they are integrins. The anchoring proteins are desmoplakins and plectins. The cytoskeletal proteins because epithelial cells हैं तो epithelial cell के ही आपके intermediate filaments होंगे तो जहाँ keratin होगा और examples बहुत सारे epithelial cells होंगे blood vessels के epithelial cells में भी ये होते हैं. Last but not the least, the gap junctions, the most important one. The transmembrane proteins are present only and these are the connexins. 6 connexins make one connexon and 2 connexons make one gap junction. And they are present in smooth and cardiac muscles for synchronous contraction in neurons and embryo. There is a diagrammatic summary. Here are the tight junctions, the stitching junctions. Here are the adhering junctions, the desmosomes, the attachment plaques made by the anchoring proteins, and an electron dense line in between made by the transmembrane proteins, and the gap junctions, the communicating junctions, each made up of 2 connexons, and each connexon is made up of 6 connexin. अलहमदुलिल्लाह आपके लिए बच्चों वाली बात हो गई होगी ये तो.